It starts with yogurt. The way I'm going to add the ingredients is really about teaching a little bit how contrast works and flavour works and how to build structural flavour in a dish as well. So we're starting with the yogurt. So tasting the yogurt, first up. It's very dense and rich, but it's quite sweet. And what we're going to do is break up all of that creaminess and heavy weight of fat with a really, really sharp acid. So I use apple cider vinegar. It's a cup and 1/3 of yogurt. I'm applying 5 tablespoons, which seems like a lot, but yogurt has a really persistent density. And then using a whisk to loosen the yogurt and work the vinegar through. So you can see already there's a textural change. When it comes to flavour, textural change equates with an actual taste change. And that's the balance I want. A little bit more vinegar, a little bit less creamy fat. So next is salt. So we're going to use a white salt for this, and I'm going to start with a teaspoon. The reason I'm using a white salt is, let me show you this lined up. Dense fat, sharp acid needs a sharp, strong salt. So what we're dealing with Raita is strong, strident ingredient and spicing. Another taste. The salt sharpens up the dish, tightens everything up a little bit. To balance the salt, we're going to do a little bit of work with peppers. 2 peppers to create texture and to create 2 tiers of flavour. A teaspoon of cracked black pepper, 1/3 of a teaspoon of fine white pepper. The fine pepper works to soften out the cracked black pepper, and the cracked pepper lifts the white pepper and pushes it through the food. So now we're going to try this. Yeah, it's really lovely. The pepper does what it always does, which is once the pepper goes in, the salt becomes more identifiable. The pepper's a little bit hidden, but next is sugar, and a sharp sugar is going to start to show the pepper. So 1.5 teaspoons or 1 1/3 teaspoons of a caster sugar, so a fine white sugar. The reason for using a refined sugar and not a mellow sugar like a jaggery, because we're using such sharp ingredient, sharp vinegar, sharp salt, strong pepper, then I want the sugar to match that tone, and so I'm using an unrefined sugar, which is inherently sharp and pretty one-dimensional, but it's going to do the job here. So give this a taste. Yeah. So the sugar starts to bring it together. The sugar makes the acid in the vinegar more apparent. It draws forward the pepper, particularly the white pepper, and it balances out some of the salt. The fat in the yogurt is now a cool background note, so it's the carriage for the flavour. The last thing that we're going to do is to add some onion and tomato. Now, Raita can be a blend of yogurt and spice and kind of any sort of a addition of a fresh, wet spice or produce. Quite often, growing up, for us it was always cucumber. In Kashmiri cooking, horseradish is pretty common, so is radish. I love onion and tomato because the onion sharpens it and the tomato sweetens it. And that's it really. So what you need to do is to prepare a little bit in advance, because once these ingredients are added, what the Raita then needs is a little bit of time in the fridge, and that time under refrigeration is going to coalesce those flavours and smooth them out and bring them together. Yeah, it's punchy, but it's delicious, and I know that time in the fridge is going to mellow those flavours out.